At breakfast, Mom said, "Your sister's twins will take your room. They need more space to grow." As I opened my mouth, Dad slammed his glass and said, "Agree or get out of this house." I just nodded. A week later, I bought the house next door, watched them fall apart, and said good morning every day. My name is Christopher. I'm 31. I'm the quiet son, the one who blends into door frames, the one who remembers everyone's birthdays and brings a cake, because that's the thing I'm good at. I run a small pastry shop on the corner of Linden and 3rd. People come for the almond croissants and stay because I remember that Mrs. Patel likes her latte extra hot and that Mr. Corrigan pretends he doesn't like eclairs, then buys 6. In my family, I'm the background. My older sister, Sabrina, is the sun. She's the golden child with the big laugh and the right friends and now, twins. Everyone calls them our miracle babies, like we all chipped in biologically. Chipped in financially. That was my job. Chris is stable, Mom says. He has his own business, Dad says, like the bakery prints money in the back. Growing up was a steady stream of small cuts. Be a good brother. Your sister needs it more. Don't make a fuss. I learned how to patch drywall, swap out a faucet, and split a check 4 ways when I was the only one with a card that wouldn't bounce. I learned how to say, "It's fine," and make it sound like I believed it. That morning started normal. I got to their house at 7:40 a.m. with a box of cinnamon rolls because my mother hates store-bought, which is hilarious since she hasn't set foot in a grocery store since the Obama administration. Sabrina's twins were in matching onesies that said copy and paste. I kissed their foreheads and tried not to think about my credit card statement. We sat down. Dad read the local paper like it was still 1998. Sabrina scrolled silently, her phone screen a mirror. Mom poured coffee with her jaw already set. "Your sister's twins will take your room," she said, just like that, like she was announcing the weather. "They need more space to grow." I blinked. My room. I still slept there sometimes after late shifts, when I was too tired to drive across town. Also, it was my room. The walls still smelled like birthday candles and lemon polish. Mom didn't pause. "You have your shop. You practically live there. It's selfish to keep a whole room empty." I opened my mouth. Dad slammed his glass down. Milk sloshed. "Agree or get out of this house." The twins hiccuped at the noise. Sabrina didn't look up. I felt the words land and sit heavy in my chest. "Agree or get out." I nodded. "Okay." I chewed my cinnamon roll without tasting it. My tongue felt like cardboard. In my head, I kept hearing Dad's glass hit the table. Over and over. Like a metronome I couldn't stop. I own a bakery, but it didn't appear out of flour and prayer. I saved for 9 years. I worked 2 jobs for 5 of them. I slept in the walk-in cooler once because the AC died in my studio apartment and I had a wedding order at 3 a.m. I know what things cost. I know what I can afford. I know the difference between a favor and a bill with my name on it. My family treats money like it's a group project, and I'm the only one who studied. It started small. Sabrina borrowed $120 in college for textbooks, then $350 for a traffic ticket. "You're better with fees," she said. When she was 27, she called me crying from a mall parking lot because her card got declined at Nordstrom and she needed a blazer for an interview. I drove over and handed the cashier my card because the line was long and I don't like scenes. $498.27. I still remember the exact number because later that week I skipped lunch 3 days in a row so I wouldn't overdraft. My parents never asked where my money came from. They just assumed I had it. "You're careful," Mom would say. Translation, "You don't say no." Dad kept a running scoreboard of things we did for you. Like existing was a tab I hadn't settled. "Roof over your head," he'd mutter when I didn't jump fast enough. "Food on your plate," even if that food was mostly me cooking. When Sabrina got married, I made a 5-tier cake for free and paid the florist's rush fee because they misquoted. When she got pregnant with the twins, I was on the hook for the crib, then the second crib, then the humidifier, then the better humidifier because the first one was too loud. The registry looked like it was for a minor royal. Everyone clapped at the shower when I brought out the crocum bush. Aunt Nora hugged me and said, "You're the glue of this family." Glue is sticky. Glue holds other people's messes together until it dries and cracks. I told myself I didn't mind. I like being useful. I like being the guy people could count on. But then the asks changed shape. They got bigger, heavier. They came with deadlines. 2 months before the twins were born, Dad called. No hello. Sabrina's lease is up. We're converting the den into a nursery. You'll handle the contractors. I was piping raspberry buttercream onto 60 cupcakes. Dad, I'm in the middle of. He talked over me. We need it done before June. Your shop is slow in spring, right? You can manage the budget. Whose budget? I asked, already knowing. Ours, he said, then coughed. Yours. We'll pay you back when things even out. When do things ever even out? I kept a spreadsheet. I do that when I feel control slipping. By the week of the breakfast, the total I'd fronted in the past year was $18,542.19. I'm not rich. I'm a guy who sells pastries for $4.75. That number glowed on my laptop screen like a warning label. Around the same time, Sabrina started leaving boxes in my old room. Just for now, she'd say. Then a stroller appeared. Then two. Then the changing table. I stepped around it at night like a guest in a museum of my own childhood. The posters were still on the walls, curling at the corners. My old soccer trophy stood crooked on the shelf next to a bottle warmer I'd apparently paid for. The night before the breakfast, I worked late on a custom order. A husband wanted a cake that looked like the first book he and his wife read together. It took me 4 hours to get the fondant right. While I worked, my phone lit up with family texts. Mom, don't forget breakfast. 8 a.m. Sabrina, can you bring cinnamon rolls? Dad, be on time. I stared at the screen. No, please. No, thank you. Just instructions. I brushed it off because brushing it off is a skill now. I boxed the cake. I set my alarm. I went to the house I grew up in and slept on a mattress half covered by diapers I paid for. Then the morning. The sentence. Your sister's twins will take your room. The glass slam. Agree or get out. After, Mom started listing logistics like we were at a staff meeting. We'll move your boxes to the garage, she said. They'll mold in the garage, I said. Then take them to your shop, Dad snapped. You're always there. Sabrina finally looked up. It's not personal, Chris. The babies need space. I stared at her. Where am I supposed to sleep when I close at midnight and can't drive home? She tilted her head like I'd asked for a pony. You can crash on the couch. The couch is Dad's throne. The couch is where complaints live. I pictured myself curled up there, listening to him breathe and judge. I pictured the spreadsheet. I pictured the blazer receipt. Okay, I said again, my voice small. Okay. Driving to the bakery after breakfast, the word okay felt like a stone in my mouth. I parked. I went inside. I stood behind the counter and watched light crawl across the tile floor. My phone buzzed. Sabrina, can you send $300 for the car seats? Sale ends today. I didn't answer. I put my phone face down next to the register. A customer came in. I smiled on autopilot and filled a pastry box. When they left, I pulled out my phone again. Missed call, Mom, X1. Missed call, Dad, X2. Text, Mom, it's settled then. Start moving your things. We'll rent a storage unit if you insist, but you'll cover it. I stared at those words for a long time. Settled. Like someone had slammed a gavel. Like I wasn't a person in the room, just a line item. Something in me moved. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just shifted. The breaking point wasn't a shout. It was a Sunday lunch a week later. Roast chicken. The twins sleeping. The house smelled like rosemary and baby shampoo. I brought a tart because that's what I do when I don't know what else to do. Dad started without preamble. We found a contractor. You'll write the check. We'll pay you back when the market stabilizes. How much? I asked. 40, he said. 42 with permits. 4,200. I played dumb because I wanted to hear him say it. 1,000, he said, like I was slow. Mom chimed in. And while we're at it, Sabrina and the babies will move into your room this week. We need you to get the rest of your things out tonight. Your childhood stuff can be tossed. It's clutter. Tossed. I repeated. My stuff is clutter. Sabrina sipped her water. Chris, can you not make this dramatic? You don't even use the room. Then, like an afterthought, also, daycare waitlist fees came through. Can you spot me $600? I'll send it back when I can. I looked around the table. The chicken steamed. The twins snuffled. Dad's knife hit the plate. Clink, clink, clink. I can't, I said. 3 faces lifted like periscopes. Dad frowned. Can't what? I can't write a check for $42,000. I can't pay daycare fees. I can't move my things out tonight so you can toss them in the garage. I can't do this anymore. Silence. The kind that has weight. Mom recovered first. Don't be childish. We all sacrifice for family. I've sacrificed, I said, steady, surprising myself. $18,542 since last May. 212 hours on your renovations. Free cakes, free deliveries, midnight calls, early drop-offs. I've given and given. And when I asked for one thing, keep my room, you told me to agree or get out. Dad leaned back. You keeping score? You want to talk about scoreboards, son? I started keeping score because you were already keeping it for me, I said. Every favor I do becomes proof I owe more. Sabrina rolled her eyes. This is about the room? Seriously? The babies need space. This isn't about revenge, I said, my voice low. This is about closure. About boundaries. The words surprised me with how calm they sounded. I'm not funding your remodel. I'm not paying the daycare wait list. I'm not giving up the last square foot in this house that still feels like mine. Dad's jaw worked. Then get out. Okay, I said, pushing my chair back. I will. Mom's mouth opened. Closed. Christopher, sit down. I stood. I'll be back tonight for my things. The rest is yours. The trophies. The posters. Keep them. Toss them. Your choice. Sabrina laughed once, brittle. You're overreacting. I looked at her. You texted me 47 times last month asking for money. You Venmo requested me for $8.99 because you forgot your coffee. I sent it. I always do. Not anymore. I walked to the door. Dad said, if you leave like this, don't come back. I paused with my hand on the knob. I'm tired of nodding. I turned, met Mom's eyes, then Sabrina's. Good luck with the space. I left the tart on the counter. I didn't slam any doors. I drove to the bakery. I cleaned the espresso machine like it had offended me. Then I sat at the tiny office desk and opened Zillow because I needed to look at something that wasn't a text thread. The listing had been up for 19 minutes. Charming 3-bedroom next door to quiet cul-de-sac. The photos showed a sunlit kitchen, a backyard with a lopsided fence, and the exact view of my parents' living room window that I grew up staring through. The price made my stomach flip. High, but not impossible. Not if I pulled from the expansion fund and braced for a tight year. My phone buzzed nonstop. Mom, 3 be reasonable. Dad, 1 don't be stupid. Sabrina, 5 we need the money today. The sale ends at midnight. I didn't answer. I called the agent instead. Hi, I own the bakery on Linden. I'd like to make a cash offer on the house next door. He whistled. You move fast. Not really, I said. Just tired. The next 48 hours were a blur of signatures and wire transfers. I slept on the bakery couch between morning bakes and emails from the title company. I told exactly 2 people, my assistant manager, Jade, who hugged me and said, about time, and my landlord, because I was month to month anyway. On Wednesday, the deed recorded. I drove to the new place with a folding chair, a pillow, and a bag of groceries. The house smelled like pine sol and old dust. I opened the windows. I sat on the floor and ate a cold sandwich. When it got dark, I texted a locksmith. At 7:02 a.m. Thursday, I stood on my new front porch with a coffee and watched my parents' blinds twitch. I took a sip. I waited. The front door across the lawn opened like a jaw. Mom stepped out in her robe. Christopher. Morning, I said. Dad appeared behind her. He looked smaller in daylight. What are you doing? Living, I said. Sabrina texted before she called. Sabrina, is that a joke? Sabrina, tell me you didn't. Call. Sabrina declined. I locked my phone and sat on the step. It felt quiet. Not peaceful yet. Just quiet. By noon, the rumor machine was at full speed. Aunt Nora called and said, your mother is hysterical. Uncle Ted texted, bold move, kid, with a thumbs up emoji that made me laugh in spite of myself. I turned my phone off and built a bed frame. I'm not handy in a YouTube influencer way, but I can follow instructions. It felt good to make something that stayed where I put it. That afternoon, Dad came over. No hello. You think this is funny? No, I said. I think it's close. Close to what? Closure, I said. And boundaries. He scoffed. You bought a house to spite your sister. I bought a house because you told me to get out, I said. And because I can afford to live without being told my value every time you need a check. He looked past me into the empty living room. So what? You'll just sit here and watch us? No, I smiled. I'll say good morning, like neighbors do. He stared for a long time. We raised you. I know, I said. Thank you. He left shaking his head. An hour later, Mom sent a paragraph about betrayal and family and how I should be ashamed. 5 minutes after that, a second text. Can you at least bring cinnamon rolls on Sunday? The twins love them. I didn't reply. I baked for my customers and slept like a rock. Friday, Sabrina came over pushing the twin stroller like a battering ram. You're insane, she said. You embarrassed Mom. People are talking. People always talk, I said. Half the time they're wrong. You could have just helped like you always do. I did help, I said. For years. She crossed her arms. Dad says you're cutting us off. I'm paying what I owe, I said. Mortgage. Utilities. Groceries for me. Payroll for my staff. That's the list. She stared at me like I'd started speaking French. So you won't help with daycare? No. The contractor? No. She laughed, a sharp sound. Then I hope you enjoy your empty house. I will, I said. You're welcome to visit. With a text first. And no payment requests attached. Her mouth opened and closed. She turned the stroller around. You've changed. Yeah, I said. Finally. Over the weekend, the calls stacked up. 61 missed. Mom left a voicemail crying. Dad left one saying he was disappointed in the man I'd become. Sabrina sent a screenshot of her bank app like that was supposed to move me. I took a walk around the block. The air smelled like cut grass. A neighbor I didn't know waved. New on the block. Sort of, I said. Old, but new. On Sunday morning, I brewed coffee and stood on my porch at 7:30 a.m. The blinds across the way moved. The front door opened. Mom stepped out, eyes red. Dad hovered behind her. Sabrina stood to the side, arms folded. I lifted my mug. Good morning. No one answered. They went back inside. It kept going like that. Monday, good morning. Tuesday, good morning. Wednesday, Dad grunted. Thursday, Mom waved without meaning it. By the following week, their texts were shorter and angrier, then longer and guiltier, then quiet. Silence has a shape. It fits around you differently when you choose it. The bakery doubled as my anchor. People kept showing up for croissants and birthday cakes, blissfully unaware that I was practicing saying no in the kitchen between batches out loud, to the rhythm of the mixer. No, no, no. It felt clumsy at first, like new shoes. Then it felt like standing up straight after years of hunching. Bills came. The mortgage was real. I rearranged the expansion fund and shelved a shiny idea for spring. Jade took an extra shift. I cut one subscription I never used. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. My numbers were my numbers, not a family group project. The last test came when Mom texted a photo of my old room. The cribs were pushed against the wall where my desk used to be. The posters were gone. The paint was that soft gray everyone uses when they want to call a color timeless. Mom, see? They needed the space. I looked at the photo for a long time. I expected a stab of grief. Instead, I felt a small, clean click, like a lock sliding shut. Me. I'm glad they have what they need. Mom, so you'll help? Me. I already did. Weeks later, the morning routine became a bit. I'd step outside with coffee. I'd watch their door. Sometimes I caught a glimpse of the twins' tiny hands grabbing at air. Sometimes Dad picked up the paper and pretended not to see me. Sometimes Mom waved, embarrassed, like the neighbor gossip pipeline was still running hot. One morning, I saw Sabrina loading the stroller into her car. She glanced over at me, hesitated, and called out, "Morning." "Morning," I said. She walked to the edge of the lawn. "You really not mad?" I was, I said. "Now I'm done." She kicked at a crack in the sidewalk. "It was never personal." "It was always personal," I said. "You just didn't have to feel it." She nodded once. "I'm figuring stuff out." "Me too," I said. She opened her mouth, then closed it. "The twins like your laugh?" she said finally. "They laugh when they hear you on the phone outside." That threw me. "Tell them I said hi." "I will." She strapped the stroller in, then looked back. "You still making those cinnamon rolls?" "Every day," I said. 9 trays by 9 a.m. She smiled small. "Maybe I'll buy some on Saturday." "Text first," I said. "I'll set them aside." After she drove off, I sat on my step. The sun was out just enough to make the fence look less crooked. My house smelled like coffee and soap. My shop smelled like butter and sugar and a future I could actually name. For the first time in a long time, my life felt like something I owned, not something I rented from other people's expectations. People like to frame choices as revenge or forgiveness. Like there are only 2 lanes and you have to pick one. I don't want revenge. I don't need their apologies anymore. I needed the quiet click of a boundary locking into place. I needed to hear myself say, no, and have it stand. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. Closure looks like a key on my own ring. It sounds like not explaining myself to a group chat. It tastes like coffee on a porch I pay for, while I tell my parents good morning, because I can be polite without being a doormat. I've stopped keeping the spreadsheet of what I'm owed versus what I gave. The numbers don't fix the past. They don't make a family into something it wasn't. What they did do, for a while, was keep me stuck in a math problem where the solution was always give more. Not anymore. I'm a pastry chef. I feed people. That's who I am. But I'm also a person who doesn't hand over the last piece of himself just because someone says they're entitled to it. I'll help when I want to, not when fear or guilt tells me to. I'll bring cinnamon rolls because I like making them, not because my mother expects the box on her counter. The twins will grow. Sabrina will learn or she won't. My parents will soften or they won't. None of that is my job to manage. My job is to preheat the oven at 3:45 a.m., laminate dough with quiet music on, pay my staff on time, and lock my front door at night without checking my phone for a new request. I won't let them turn my life back into a group project. I won't nod just to keep the peace. I won't give a yes I can't afford. I own a tiny house and a tiny shop, and every decision I made to protect them. I'm not looking for applause. I'm just building a routine that isn't powered by panic. Good morning, I say, and I mean it. I don't owe anyone an explanation for that.
Asterisk after listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. Asterisk.